The message arrived without warning. Across the galaxy, every major world received the same broadcast from the Galactic Council. The tone was cold. Official. Final. Earth, the youngest member of Interstellar Society, had been found non-compliant. The punishment was simple. 6 million refugees would be sent to Earth. Not aid. Not support. People. Worlds destroyed by war. Species driven from their homes. Families with nothing left but memories. The council framed it as mercy, but everyone knew the truth. This was exile. And Earth was the dumping ground. In alien capitals, leaders watched the announcement with quiet smiles. Earth was still fragile. Limited space. Limited resources. Too emotional. Too soft. 6 million desperate lives would tear it apart from the inside. This will teach the humans restraint, one council member said. Another corrected him. It will teach them cruelty. On Earth, the sky was calm when the news reached the planet. Blue. Clear. Peaceful. That peace did not last. Screens lit up in cities across the world. Emergency alerts interrupted daily life. People stopped in the streets. In homes. In schools. In factories. The words were simple, but their meaning was heavy. 6 million refugees inbound. Arrival in 72 hours. Panic came fast. News channels argued. Politicians shouted. Comment sections exploded. Some feared hunger. Others feared violence. Many feared change. Earth had problems already. This was too much. Too fast. But something strange happened. There were no riots. No weapons raised. No calls for war. Instead, people listened. World leaders gathered in emergency meetings. Scientists spoke. Economists warned. Military commanders prepared for chaos. And still, no one gave the order to close the skies. In orbit, telescopes tracked the incoming fleet. Thousands of refugee ships drifted through space. Old. Damaged. Some barely holding together. They moved slowly, like wounded animals. Inside those ships, fear was thicker than the air. The refugees had heard the stories. Humans were unpredictable. Emotional. Violent when pushed. Many expected camps. Chains. Forced labor. Some believed Earth would turn them away to die in space. Parents held children close. Warriors hid their broken weapons. Elders prayed in languages long forgotten. They waited for rejection. They waited for cruelty. As the first ships entered Earth's atmosphere, the entire planet watched. Clouds parted. Fire streaked across the sky. One ship. Then 10. Then hundreds. The horizon filled with metal and shadow. It looked like an invasion. Military bases stood ready. Not to attack, but to guide. Emergency teams moved into position. Hospitals prepared. Schools closed to open shelters instead. Still, the galaxy expected disaster. Then Earth sent a broadcast. It was not from a single nation. Not a president or a king. It was a shared signal, carried across every human network, then translated and pushed into space. The speaker was an older human woman. No uniform. No weapon. Just tired eyes and a steady voice. She did not talk about punishment. She did not talk about cost. She said only one thing. They are not a burden. They are lives. The message repeated in hundreds of languages. Human and alien alike. On refugee ships, translators struggled to keep up. Some thought it was a trap. Others did not understand the words at all. But they understood the tone. It was not hate. It was not fear. It was welcome. The first refugees touched Earth soil within hours. Not behind fences. Not under guns. Volunteers were there. Medical teams. Food stations. Translators wearing simple badges that read, "Here to help." A child from a shattered world reached out and touched grass for the first time in years. He expected to be pulled away. No one stopped him. Across the galaxy, silence spread. The Council watched Earth's response in disbelief. This was not how punishments worked. Earth was supposed to crack. To beg. To push the refugees away and prove the Council right. Instead, Earth opened its arms. And in that moment, something shifted. What the galaxy thought was a punishment had just become something else. A test. And humanity had not failed it. Not yet. The refugees expected kindness to end quickly. On most worlds, mercy never lasted. Food was given, then taken away. Shelter was offered, then turned into control. Many refugees believed Earth's welcome was only temporary. They waited for the rules. For the limits. For the moment when humans would say, "Enough." That moment never came. Days passed. Then weeks. Refugee camps did not turn into prisons. They turned into small cities. Humans did not separate species. Families stayed together. Old enemies slept under the same roofs. Translators worked day and night, learning new sounds, new gestures, new ways to say something as simple as, "You are safe." Some humans struggled. Supplies ran low in a few regions. Long lines formed. Tension rose. And still, no one was turned away. Instead, people adapted. Empty stadiums became housing. Schools reopened with mixed classrooms. Doctors trained alien nurses. Engineers worked with refugees who once built star cities before losing everything. Humans listened. They learned. Across the galaxy, observers watched closely. At first, they laughed. Earth will collapse within a month, analysts said. But the collapse never came. Crime did not explode. Violence did not spread. Refugees did not riot. Something unexpected happened instead. The refugees began to protect Earth. When a food truck was attacked by desperate locals, refugees formed a shield around it. When panic spread online, refugee leaders spoke beside human leaders, asking for calm. When disease threatened a city, alien doctors offered treatments humans had never seen before. Earth was not being consumed. It was growing. That terrified the galaxy. Galactic news networks changed their tone. The word punishment quietly disappeared. Now they used experiment. Risk. Threat. How can humans afford this? One commentator asked. Another answered with fear in his voice. They cannot. That is the problem. They are choosing to anyway. The Council sent covert teams to Earth. Observers disguised as traitors. Inspectors hiding behind aid groups. Their reports were short. Uncomfortable. Humans were not asking refugees to kneel. Humans were not demanding loyalty. Humans were not taking control. They were sharing it. In one city, a refugee engineer repaired a power grid that humans could not fix. In another, alien farmers saved crops from a climate disaster using forgotten methods. Old enemies who once fought wars now argued over school schedules and food recipes. The galaxy had never seen this. Empires were built on fear. Control. Force. Earth was building something else. Trust. That was when the first warning arrived. A powerful alien empire, one that had supported the punishment, began moving ships closer to Earth's system. Officially, it was a security exercise. Unofficially, it was pressure. They expected Earth to back down. Human leaders noticed the ships. They did not hide it. They did not panic. They addressed the refugees directly. "This is your home too," one leader said. "No one gets to threaten it." The refugees listened. And for the first time since losing their worlds, many felt something dangerous growing inside them. Hope. Galactic spies noticed something else. Refugees were sharing stories. Not just of loss, but of who destroyed their homes. Of weapons used. Of lies told by the Council. Earth was learning secrets the galaxy had buried for centuries. Not through torture. Not through force. But because people trusted humans enough to speak. The Council realized its mistake too late. They had not weakened Earth. They had not divided it. They had not overwhelmed it. They had connected it. 6 million lives were no longer a burden. They were voices. Skills. Memories. Allies. As alien ships watched from the edge of the system, one truth became clear. Earth was no longer alone. And compassion, once seen as weakness, was becoming something far more dangerous to the galaxy. Something powerful. Something the Council did not know how to stop. The galaxy waited for Earth to fail. Every model said it would. 6 million refugees should have caused chaos. Shortages. Violence. Civil war. Empires had collapsed under less pressure. Analysts watched Earth day and night, searching for cracks. They found none. Instead, something else appeared. Unity. Months passed, and Earth changed. Not in one dramatic moment, but slowly, quietly. Refugee districts became neighborhoods. Markets filled with strange foods and new colors. Languages mixed. Music changed. Even the night sky felt different, crowded with ships that no longer felt foreign. Refugees were not hiding anymore. They were contributing. Former soldiers trained alongside human peacekeepers. Alien scientists worked in human labs. Engineers from lost worlds helped rebuild old human cities faster and stronger than before. Children who once hid in broken ships now ran through parks, laughing in sounds no one had heard on Earth before. The galaxy began to panic. Galactic news feeds shifted again. Now the tone was not mocking. It was nervous. Earth's population has effectively doubled, one report said. And yet productivity has increased, another admitted. How is this possible, they asked. The answer scared them. Humans were not ruling the refugees. They were trusting them. That trust spread faster than fear ever had. Refugees began to speak publicly. Not as victims, but as witnesses. They told stories of how their worlds were destroyed. Who ordered the attacks? Which empires stood silent while planets burned? These were not accusations shouted in anger. They were calm. Clear. Detailed. Truth carried weight. The Galactic Council tried to silence them. Broadcasts were blocked. Signals jammed. But the stories were already out. Shared from Earth, echoed by millions who had nothing left to lose. Earth did not censor them. Earth protected them. That was the moment the galaxy understood the danger. A council delegation was sent to Earth. Not diplomats. Inspectors. They arrived with strict rules, sharp words, and hidden fear. They expected disorder. They expected resistance. They found families instead. Human children sat beside alien children in classrooms. Refugee elders debated with human elders in open halls. No guards stood between them. No chains. No fear. One inspector whispered, "This should not work." A human guide answered calmly, "We know." The inspectors demanded limits. Quotas. Forced relocations. Control. Earth refused. Not loudly. Not angrily. Simply and completely. In orbit, foreign fleets grew larger. Warships waited just outside Earth's system. The galaxy thought pressure would force compliance. It did not. Refugees watched the ships too. They recognized them. These were the same fleets that had once arrived over their own worlds. The same symbols. The same threats. Fear returned for a moment. Then something unexpected happened. Refugees volunteered. Not to fight. To stand. They spoke to human leaders. They spoke to cameras. They spoke to the galaxy. We lost our homes, one refugee said. Earth gave us one without asking for obedience. Another added, if Earth falls, we fall with it. Millions agreed. For the first time in recorded history, displaced worlds chose loyalty over survival. Not because they were forced, but because they believed. Galactic commanders watched in silence as data flooded in. Earth's population now included warriors, scientists, pilots, and engineers from dozens of species. Knowledge once locked behind empires was now shared freely. Earth was becoming something new. Not an empire. Not a conqueror. A center. The Council finally understood its mistake. By trying to punish Earth, they had given it something no weapon could match. 6 million reasons to protect it. And as fleets waited in the dark, one truth became impossible to ignore. Earth had not broken. It had bonded. And the galaxy was no longer sure it could survive what came next. The final decision of the Galactic Council came in silence. No loud announcement. No dramatic speech. Just movement. Fleets began to reposition around Earth's system. Not attacking. Not leaving. Watching. Waiting. The galaxy was unsure what Earth had become, and uncertainty was dangerous. On Earth, people noticed the ships. Humans noticed. Refugees noticed. Fear returned for a moment. Old memories surfaced. Burning skies. Evacuation alarms. Worlds lost forever. Many refugees had seen this exact moment before. The calm before destruction. But this time was different. This time, they were not alone. Human leaders did not hide the truth. They addressed the planet openly. No false promises. No heroic speeches. We do not know what comes next, one leader said. But we will not abandon anyone. That was enough. Refugee councils gathered across Earth. Species that once fought wars sat together. Voices rose. Not in anger, but in resolve. They reached a decision without human pressure. They would stand with Earth. Not as shields. Not as weapons. As citizens. A message was sent into space. Not from governments. Not from councils. From the refugees. It was simple. Earth did not save us to own us. Earth saved us because it could. If you attack this world, you attack us all. The galaxy was stunned. Never before had displaced populations chosen a home so completely. Empires had always assumed refugees were weak. Broken. Easy to control. They were wrong. Behind the words were facts the Council could not ignore. Refugees had shared everything they knew. Fleet weaknesses. Supply routes. Political lies. Hidden crimes. Earth now held more intelligence than any single empire. Not stolen. Given. Some council members panicked. Others argued for force. A few finally understood. They had created the largest united population the galaxy had ever seen. And it was loyal to Earth. When the Council sent a final demand, Earth's reply was calm. We will not send them away. We will not cage them. We will not surrender our humanity. No threats followed. No weapons were shown. That scared the galaxy more than any fleet. Behind the scenes, something even bigger was happening. Refugee engineers and human scientists had been working together quietly. Not on weapons, but on defense. Shields. Evacuation systems. Planetary protection. Earth was no longer fragile. It was prepared. The Council delayed. Then delayed again. Time passed. One by one, alien fleets pulled back. Not because they were defeated, but because the cost had become too high. Earth had not built an empire through conquest. It had built one through compassion. And compassion had created something unstoppable. Months later, the galaxy changed its language. Refugees were no longer called a punishment. They were called partners. Earth was no longer seen as soft. It was seen as dangerous in a new way. Because humans had proven something terrifying. They could absorb pain without becoming cruel. They could grow stronger without losing mercy. They could turn suffering into unity. In the end, the Council never apologized. Empires rarely do. But they rewrote the records. Quietly. The punishment was removed from history. The refugees remained. Earth remained changed. And across the galaxy, a new rule spread in whispers. Do not test humanity by hurting the helpless. They will not break. They will gather. And if you force them to choose between power and compassion, they will choose both. Because that was the lesson the galaxy learned too late. They dumped 6 million refugees on Earth to destroy it. Instead, they helped humanity become something the stars would never forget.